Good evening. The return to service continues for Air Canada. Tonight, more flights are taking off as flight attendants learn more about the tentative deal.
This as passengers affected by the strike seek more clarity about their financial options, and some continue to untangle their travel plans. CTV Sean Lee Thong is live once again tonight inside Pearson Airport with the details. Sean.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, the fight to end the lack of ground pay for flight attendants appears to be over. Now, those who are flying say it's been a very difficult process, with entanglement being the operative word. The journey ending in Toronto, passengers arriving after the strikes end with a sigh of relief.
We had to call Air Canada yesterday just to make sure the flights are still on track, and I guess we were lucky.
As they get planes off the ground and in the air, Air Canada is aiming to return to 80% of capacity, but many of those arriving are feeling
tired, frustrating, but at least they got us where we wanted to be.
After the 3-day strike, direct flights have been hard to find. A canceled flight for Sima Pillay was supposed to be Vancouver to Toronto, but changed to
from Surrey, driving to Seattle, Seattle to St. Louis, staying there for 8 hours, then coming through over here, Toronto Airport.
For those trying to get home,
not great, I can't lie. Not looking forward to it.
Christopher Field and Sophia Stevens had a direct flight to the United Kingdom.
Now it was Ottawa to Toronto, Toronto to Lisbon, Lisbon to Porto, and Porto to Gatwick. So we've got quite a few connections to make.
We were told that if we don't get this flight, then we won't be home until September the 3rd.
Christina Robertson was supposed to fly Toronto to Edinburgh on Saturday, instead spending 4 days here trying to book another flight.
And every time I'd click on a flight to try and change the flight, it said, no, this is no longer available. Phone Air Canada. And when I phoned Air Canada, they said they had so many calls that they couldn't take any more, and the call was terminated.
Now a longer journey with a stop in Montreal and Dublin before getting home to Scotland, and frustration for the 4 extra days in the city.
It's going to take me about 6 months to be able to kind of pay it all off and save up.
Air Canada says they will cover some costs as they try to lift up their damaged reputation.
So what we've done is we're telling people we're going to reimburse you, if you want to book a flight on your own on another carrier.
But at this point, of the over 500,000 customers that were affected, it's unclear who will qualify. And Air Canada has said they will also cover other modes of transport that passengers had to take, whether it be a bus or a train. But there was no word whether hotel costs will be included. Reporting live, I'm Sean Lee Thong. Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Meantime, Air Canada's flight attendants have now learned more about that tentative deal reached between their union and the airline.
As CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports, union members will now vote to decide if the deal is acceptable or not.
With Air Canada slowly getting its fleet off the ground, industry watchers say parts of the proposed deal will leave some flight attendants deflated.
They won't be able to afford the cost of living and living wage in Toronto and Vancouver.
Air Canada and CUPE have yet to confirm the wage increase being offered, but multiple aviation insiders, including McGill University's John Graddick, say they've seen the numbers.
12% increase immediately for the junior flight attendants, 8% for the more senior flight attendants, and then progressively through the contract, 3.5%, 3%, and then 2.5%.
Though the pay grade for cabin crew with less than 5 years of service will still fall short of what some U.S. carriers offer their staff who work out of major hubs.
If you happen to live in L.A., if you happen to live in New York, or happen to live in Chicago, we're giving you an extra $2,000 a month. And that should get you up to a living wage in those cities where you have a high cost of living.
Air Canada flight attendants haven't been receiving an hourly wage while checking in passengers. CTV News has confirmed that the airline is now offering 50% of their hourly rate as ground pay for the first hour of pre-flight work on a narrow-body aircraft and 70 minutes for larger planes. The ground pay rate will increase to 70% by the time the deal expires in 4 years.
The flight attendants at Air Canada felt that this was a negotiating element of their contract that they could get a lot of Canadians to support.
Air Canada's offer of ground pay follows a similar move already made by Delta Airlines in the U.S. It could trigger similar demands by flight attendants at other Canadian carriers. WestJet's contract with its cabin crew expires at the end of the year.
A source tells CTV News that CUPE began presenting Air Canada's offer to their members this morning.
Voting is expected to be completed by the end of next week. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Still to come tonight, overflowing bins, sidewalk litter, and illegal dumping. Cleanliness complaints are up. We hop in with city crews efforting to manage the city's messiness.
Our sidewalks and roads getting a bit of a soaking as of late, but the wet and cooler weather is on its way out. We're about to see the sun again and feel the warmth. Not quite yet, though. Pretty gloomy skyline at this hour. Lindsay Morrison is here with the specifics. Lindsay.
Yeah, it's been another pretty overcast day for the most part, Michelle. Drier than it was yesterday, so at least there's that. Might even be seeing a few peaks of sun well north of the GTA right now. We will see more of that as we make our way into the day tomorrow. A couple of lake effect showers are going to be possible through the night tonight, thanks in part to winds coming out of the east and northeast, and they're pretty gusty, especially around Hamilton, gusting near 50 kilometers per hour. It is currently 20 degrees. It feels like 24. Overnight tonight, we drop to a low near 16. The summertime warmth returns tomorrow, and even more so heading into the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up. For now, Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. One man is dead, another in hospital after what police believe was a targeted shooting in Brampton.
The shooting happened inside a home, and tonight those who live nearby are unsettled. CTV's John Musselman is live tonight at the scene of the shooting with more. John.
Well, Nathan, it happened in the brown brick home behind me. Forensic officers in white suits are just gathering some evidence from the scene. We're also learning today that there was an incident here back in February. Police are trying to determine if it's connected.
The shooting took place inside this Brampton home just after 8:30 last night. When police arrived, they found two men who had been shot. One man was pronounced dead at the scene. A second man was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Residents in this neighborhood near Castlemore and Airport Road say the gun violence is unsettling.
So scary. After that, I didn't even go nowhere. Usually I go in the evening, I sit in the front. I think not anymore.
It's very concerning. We're all scared, even my kids. I have a daughter, son. They all walk, mostly run in the area and jog, and even we go for a walk, so we are concerned.
Police say this appears to be an isolated incident and there is no threat to public safety.
This is believed to be a targeted, isolated incident, which means that we do not believe at this time that anyone else in the neighborhood should feel unsafe at this point, but we are urging anyone to check their cameras, check their dash cam footage, speak to officers that are canvassing the area with any concerns.
This man, who did not want to appear on camera, says his security camera captured a white car racing away from the scene seconds after last night's shooting. The video has been turned over to Peel Regional Police.
They saw that a white car was just spraying slow speed.
Neighbors say a family lives in the home. It is also partially rented out to tenants. There have been complaints about tow trucks parked on the street in front of the home. Neighbors also tell CTV News police were here a few months ago after a vehicle parked in the driveway was set on fire. It was captured on a neighbor's security camera.
Somebody showed me the camera, and the two guys, they came, and they was putting the gas, and then I think they put lighter, then the car's boom.
The home has been sealed off during the investigation. The name and age of the man who was killed has not been released by police.
And we've also confirmed from police that the incident back in February, a 24-year-old man was charged with arson. Police have set up a command center in the neighborhood. Anyone with information is asked to provide it to police. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, John. The loved ones of an 8-year-old boy killed by a stray bullet in North York gathered for his funeral today as police continue to search for the suspect or suspects responsible. Javay Roy was shot in bed in his family's apartment near Black Creek and Trithui Drives. His mother says the bullet came through the window early Saturday morning. He was laid to rest today at a funeral at a First Nation on Manitoulin Island. A vigil in his memory is set to take place in his Toronto neighborhood tomorrow, with a rally against gun violence planned outside City Hall on Friday.
A man is dead after being struck by a tractor trailer in North York. It happened just before 2 p.m. near Jethro Road and Wilson Avenue, east of the 400. Police say they were called for reports of an industrial accident. The man died at the scene. So far, there have been no details about what led up to the man being struck. Ontario's Labour Ministry has been identified. The Premier speaking out about a homeowner who was criminally charged after allegedly defending his home against an intruder. Tonight, the Kawartha Lakes police chief is clarifying the actions of his officer. Early Monday, officers say they responded to an apartment in Lindsay for a report of an altercation. Police learned the male homeowner had woken up to find another man in his home. Police say a fight led to the intruder receiving serious life-threatening injuries. He was rushed to hospital and eventually airlifted to a Toronto hospital. Police then charged the homeowner with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon. The intruder, already wanted by police, was also charged with break-and-enter and theft.
So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged. And the other guy gets charged. But something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family.
In a statement today, the chief of police from the Kawartha Lakes Police Service said, in part, under Canadian law, individuals have the right to defend themselves and their property. The Criminal Code of Canada, specifically sections 34 and 35, allow a person to use reasonable force to protect themselves and their property if they believe they're facing a threat. However, it is important to understand that these rights are not unlimited in Canada. The law requires that any defensive action be proportionate to the threat faced. This means that while homeowners do have the right to protect themselves and their property, the use of force must be reasonable given the circumstances.
A warning, this upcoming footage is disturbing. Peel Regional Police are investigating what they're calling a hate-motivated assault captured on camera at a Tim Hortons in Mississauga last month.
Go back to India, you cockroach! Get the out of Canada!
This happened at around 6 a.m. on July 19th. Police say a customer at the Tim's location at Lakeshore Road and Lakefront Promenade confronted an employee and uttered racial and derogatory slurs. He also allegedly spat on the victim before walking out.
Our goal with putting not only the video out, but some audio to capture this voice and the absolutely repugnant things that he had to say is that if he's going to watch it, someone knows who this is. If he's watching it, turn yourself in. This is not becoming behavior of an adult or anyone in Canadian society. We want to catch this guy.
Police say the suspect left the area in a white four-door Ford truck, and they're working to figure out its license plate. Anyone with information is asked to contact investigators.
York Regional Police have shared a few updates as they investigate a shooting in Markham. Last Thursday evening, emergency crews responded to shots fired near McCowan and 14th Avenue. They transferred a man to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Today, police released these images of two suspects accused of carrying out the shooting. They were seen arriving in a gray Honda SUV that investigators have since recovered. Police believe the shooting was targeted, and they're asking anybody with information to contact them. And here in the city, police are looking for a suspect in connection with a stabbing downtown. Early on August 8th, police allege this woman stabbed a victim after a physical altercation near Queen and Bathurst. Investigators say that victim and a second one who was assaulted suffered non-life-threatening injuries. 18-year-old Brana Fernandez Martins of Toronto is wanted on charges, including attempted murder and aggravated assault. Two truck drivers, American authorities say, were instrumental in bringing huge amounts of cocaine into Canada on behalf of accused drug kingpin Ryan Wedding, intend to plead guilty in an American court.
As CTV's John Woodward reports, there's a sign the pleas could make life tougher for their fugitive former boss.
At the Port Huron border crossing 1 year ago, American Customs and Border Protection officers pulled over a truck headed to Canada. American court documents say an X-ray revealed this compartment hidden in the rear of the trailer, as well as tools that matched its screws and bolts. Inside, cocaine wrapped in cellophane, 115 bricks with a net weight of 124 kilograms. The officers estimated it was worth $3.75 million.
124 kilograms is a lot of drugs. Somebody's losing a lot of money there.
American authorities say the two alleged Canadian truck drivers, Iqbal Singh Virk and Ranjit Singh Rowell, were part of a sprawling drug trafficking network run by Ryan Wedding. That's the former Canadian snowboarder who competed in the Olympic Games in Salt Lake City in 2002. The FBI says he became a kingpin, moving 1,800 kilograms of cocaine from Colombia through Mexico to the U.S. and Canada. His alleged partner, Andrew Clark, was arrested in Mexico last year. Wedding is still on the run. The FBI put Wedding on their top 10 wanted list.
He chose to become a major drug trafficker, and he chose to become a killer.
Canadian law enforcement believe Wedding is connected to at least 4 murders in Ontario, including a brazen shooting of a Caledon family. It turned out it was mistaken identity. That family was innocent. 2 others accused of running the Canadian distribution network for Wedding appeared in a Toronto court Wednesday. The Americans are seeking their extradition, and another man accused of being a cocaine courier has already consented to going south of the border. Documents say the truck drivers intend to plead guilty in California to charges with a maximum sentence of life, but they may get a deal.
And if these folks are testifying against Wedding or other higher-ups, that's going to help the investigation immensely. And I would presume that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Cooperation like that, as well as a $10 million reward for information leading to his arrest, could be pulling the web around Wedding even tighter. John Woodward, CTV News.
Still ahead, onlookers are stunned as a massive fireball lights up the night sky in Japan. The must-see moments coming up. Next to the problem of Toronto trash and the tough task of cleaning it all up.
As CTV's Natalie Johnson reports, just like the garbage, 311 complaints about it have been piling up.
It's the morning after collection day on the Danforth, and city crews are out with bag and broom, sweeping the streets and trying to tackle all of the trash that can tarnish Toronto.
It used to be a lot cleaner city.
We don't feel like nice, clean, neat, not neat like before.
A lot of people that just don't care so much anymore, and they're throwing garbage out on the side.
These toter bins were all emptied overnight, but there was a lot in the way of leftover litter on the street.
Sometimes the wind picks up at night and blows the garbage around, so we like to get there first thing in the morning to ensure that we're collecting that waste.
Waste that more and more residents are reporting to 311. The latest data show a 25% increase in cleanliness complaints related to overflowing litter bins year over year. More than 2,100 service requests for full street litter bins, more than 2,000 complaints logged about sidewalk litter, and more than 6,500 reports of illegal dumping on city roads.
It's a challenge for the city. You know, we have our street litter bins, but when there's household waste that is, you know, jammed into the bins, that's not what they're designed for, and so they can overflow very quickly.
The city has been rolling out this redesigned version of the street litter bin with wider openings to reduce the amount of overflow when a resident reports a full street litter bin to 311. The service standard for a crew to come and clear it is 24 hours. The city has added afternoon shift crews to address the problem, in addition to Saturday cleaning blitzes for areas in need of attention.
If you come in the weekend, you know, everywhere is the garbage.
But residents like Kokon Abbas, a community leader in the Bangla Town stretch of the Danforth, say Toronto continues to have a problem with trash.
We are very upset. They're paying more taxes but getting the less.
And so amid rising cleanliness complaints, crews are faced with the tough task of keeping on top of it all.
We have a good deal of resources in the peak times, but never enough, so we do really rely on the public and 311 service requests. That helps us target where we need to go.
Trying to tackle a problem that keeps piling up so that no one talks trash about Toronto's streets. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
The province is rolling out more of its strategy to protect Ontario from the impacts of trade tensions with the United States.
Today, we're announcing the next step of our plan with $70 million for training and employment services to protect Ontario workers. $20 million for this investment will go towards our new Protect Ontario Workers Employment Response Centers, or Power Centers. These centers will provide workers with immediate access to training and employment services, and we're doing this proactively so these centers are ready to go when workers need them. We're also putting another $50 million towards the Better Jobs Ontario program, which will provide funding for things like tuition, transportation, and childcare, so people can access training for in-demand jobs and get back to work as fast as possible.
The announcement follows a move last week by the province offering $1 billion in emergency financing to eligible Ontario businesses hit hard by U.S. tariffs. The opposition at Queen's Park has argued broader supports are needed to strengthen the economy for the long term.
There is some very good news from cottage country tonight. Those 2 wildfires in the Kawartha Lakes area have been extinguished. Officials said today the Burnt River area fire is out after erupting 9 days ago. And last night we learned the Kirkfield area fire is also no longer burning. Both blazes were declared under control Friday after days of firefighting efforts. They burned about 27 hectares, but there was no evacuation order. However, a citywide burn ban remains in effect for the city of Kawartha Lakes. The World Trade Organization says China has requested consultations about Canadian surtaxes and quotas on steel and aluminum goods. The disputed measures include a surtax on certain steel imports originating from Canada's non-free trade agreement partners, including China. Beijing is also challenging a surtax on certain goods that contain steel or aluminum originating from China. Last month, Ottawa said it would implement 25% tariffs on steel imports from all countries containing steel melted and poured in China before the end of July. They are the latest developments in a trade dispute that saw Beijing impose a duty of nearly 76% on Canadian canola last week. Ottawa announced tariffs on Chinese electric vehicle imports last summer.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre held his first news conference since winning a by-election that returns him to Parliament next month.
Our priorities for the fall session are to bring in stronger take-home pay that buys you more, safer streets with criminals behind bars, secure borders with immigration that is under control and lawful, and fourth and finally, a self-reliant Canada, a Canada where we produce our own goods, we export to markets around the world, no longer dependent on the Americans.
Poilievre won the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot Monday night, securing his seat in the House of Commons. He'll square off there for the first time against Mark Carney as Prime Minister. The fall sitting begins September 15th.
Israel says it has taken the first steps of a planned operation to take over Gaza City. Its forces are now in control of the outskirts of the city, which the military describes as a Hamas stronghold. Israel's military is calling up 60,000 reservists in preparation for the assault. The decision to seize Gaza City has received international criticism, with opponents saying it will likely force the displacement of many more Palestinians. There's also opposition to a settlement plan in the occupied West Bank that was given final Israeli approval today. Critics say it will effectively cut the territory in two and prevent a direct route between the cities of Ramallah and Bethlehem. Rights groups say it could end the possibility of a Palestinian state in the future. The Trump administration is ramping up pressure on the International Criminal Court for pursuing investigations into U.S. and Israeli officials for alleged war crimes. The State Department announced new sanctions today in 4 ICC officials, including a Canadian judge. American officials say Kimberly Proust is being penalized for a ruling to authorize an ICC investigation into U.S. personnel in Afghanistan. The investigation was later dropped. The State Department says she and the 3 others being sanctioned directly engaged in efforts by the court to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute American and Israeli nationals without the consent of either nation. The sanctions were immediately denounced by the ICC and the United Nations.
The decision imposes severe impediments on the functioning of the Office of the Prosecutor and respect for all the situations that are currently before the court. Judicial independence is a basic principle that must be respected. And these types of measures undermine the foundation of international justice.
As a result of the sanctions, any assets the 2 judges and 2 prosecutors hold in U.S. jurisdictions are frozen.
NATO defense ministers held what was described as a candid discussion about security guarantees for Ukraine. The alliance held a virtual meeting to talk about what guarantees they could offer Kyiv to help forge a peace agreement. Some of the key demands from Ukraine are assurances it won't be invaded again in the future and Western help for its military. European allies are looking to set up a force that could backstop any peace agreement, and 30 countries have signed on. The U.S. has ruled out sending its troops. A state of emergency has been declared in North Carolina as Hurricane Erin churns north in the Atlantic.
Based on the current forecast, we are anticipating coastal flooding from massive waves, tropical storm force winds, and tidal and storm surge for much of the state's shoreline, especially the Outer Banks, from this evening through Thursday.
The storm began strengthening again today and could re-intensify into a major hurricane. The largest swells during high tide will cut off Outer Banks villages and vacation homes and whip up life-threatening rip currents from Florida to New England. Erin is unlikely to make landfall along the east coast before turning farther out to sea.
People in western Japan were looking skyward last night when this happened. A meteorite was spotted around 11 o'clock local time. People in 2 western prefectures reported seeing the ball of light. They are caused by friction as a meteorite enters the atmosphere and slows down considerably. Almost all space debris breaks into minuscule pieces before it hits the ground.
There are bike rides and then there are bike rides. Cyclists hit the road on a 3-day, nearly 600-kilometer journey. Coming up, their mission to help children battling cancer.
Well, we got some beneficial rain yesterday. About 15 millimeters fell all over the city of Toronto, and that brings our August tally to about 57.6 millimeters. It's still nothing compared to what we had at this point last year in the month of August, but we are climbing ever closer to our monthly average. And the next couple of days look to be dry, sunny, and a little warmer. We'll take you through the weekend forecast. Cooler air does return in the long range. Those details are ahead. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
A group of cyclists departed for a days-long ride to Montreal to raise money for pediatric cancer research. The cyclists took off from Sick Kids Hospital this morning as part of the 401 Bike Challenge. The goal of the nearly 600-kilometer mission is to help improve the care and treatment of children battling cancer and support their families throughout the process.
It's tough. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, it's first day is 188 to Belleville, and then the second day is Belleville to Cornwall, which is 260. And the third day is Cornwall to Montreal, which is 135. It's tough. But you know what? We tell ourselves that, you know, no matter how tough it feels for us, we think of the kids and we think about how much they, you know, the battles they face, which are a heck of a lot harder than whatever discomfort we have on the road. So we're happy to do it.
I get very emotional seeing that they are riding for a cause. They're raising money for children that are battling cancer. It's incredible to see a bunch of people come out from Montreal riding all the way back to Montreal for someone like my son, Hendrix, that just beat cancer.
The 401 Bike Challenge has raised over $3 million for pediatric cancer research since its inception in 2005.
And for them, this is probably the toughest day in terms of bike riding because there's rain and it's gloomy, but we've got some sunnier days ahead. I feel like we've had our cool down, we've had our rain, which we needed. Now it's time to get back to legit summer weather because these days are fleeting.
I know, we keep on saying, you know, it's almost over. There's still a month left of summer, so let's get back to the hot weather.
There's a month left of summer, but there's a little less left of summer vacation, I think, for many people. So, yes, let's get back to it. It looks like we're going to return to what we've become used to so far this summer over the next day or so here, especially Friday. It's looking great. The long range, however, shows a bit of a pattern reversal once again. So we'll get to that in a moment. Here's what it looked like earlier today. This was at Grey Abbey Park in Scarborough. Yeah, it's a pretty ominous looking sky, wouldn't you say? Mainly overcast today. Breezy winds out of the northeast that kept us cool. The cloud cover inhibiting any warm up as well. And it was a bit drizzly for anybody out and about. Not as rainy as it was this time yesterday. So an improvement, and drier weather still is on the way. Before we get to your local forecast, I just want to show you what Hurricane Erin looks like right now on the satellite and radar. This is a monster storm. Even though it technically has weakened in intensity, it has grown as far as the wind field is concerned. So already now impacting coastal parts of the United States, as we mentioned, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and eventually tracking closer to Atlantic Canada. But as we also mentioned earlier in the newscast, this particular storm is going to remain offshore and not going to have any direct landfall on anyone in North America, but it still impacts our weather here in the lower Great Lakes. I'll talk about that next. There goes the rain that impacted us yesterday. Much needed. We're thankful for it. Drier for tonight. Just a chance of maybe a lake effect rain shower for the west end of the GTA around the Golden Horseshoe toward Niagara, but we in Toronto expect clearing through the day tomorrow. Mainly sunny skies by the end of your Thursday. Friday looks spectacular. Saturday we do see a bit of an increase in cloud once again, along with the chance of showers. It's not a sure thing at this point, but you might want to start planning for the possibility both Saturday, Sunday. There is Erin creeping its way up the Atlantic. Why does this matter for our forecast? Well, the positioning of Erin as it makes its way out to sea actually keeps this trough in place for us early next week, and that means a couple of cool days, colder air locking in place as well. It's 20 degrees right now. It feels like 24, so it's been a little humid out there today. Your evening at a glance, mostly cloudy skies. Certainly, if you're lucky, you might see peaks of the sun. 19 degrees for the evening, 16 overnight. That's near normal. And then tomorrow's highs are expected to be in the low to mid 20s in most areas. It is, however, going to feel like 30 again. So if you're missing the heat, don't worry, it's coming back. There's your next 3 at the CNE. A little bit of cloud as mentioned on Saturday, but the temperature up around 27 degrees for both Friday and Saturday. Feeling like 33 on Saturday. Look at Monday, though. Daytime high maybe staying in the teens. The last time that happened was all the way back on June 13th. That's the forecast for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, excitement is building for the 50th year of TIFF. Setup is underway and Canadian filmmakers are already in town. We've got a preview of this year's homegrown offerings.
If you're in the midst of getting the kids ready for back to school, don't forget to check their eyes.
As our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, eye exams are covered by OHIP, but surprisingly, few kids take advantage of the service.
If I had not seen an issue in Nash's eye, it would never have been on my radar to take him to get an eye exam so early in his life.
In fact, only 17% of infants or toddlers get their eyes checked. And in school children, the number is only slightly better, 33%.
So we recommend that children start getting their eyes checked at 6 months of age and then annual from 2 years old onwards. And in Ontario, OHIP covers eye exams for children 19 and under every year.
And Dr. Shaina Nancy says back to school is the perfect time of year to get your kids' vision checked.
There are very serious conditions like eye cancers, or there are sight-threatening conditions like strabismus, which is a wandering eye, or amblyopia, a lazy eye, when one eye doesn't see as well as the other.
For Nash, it was a potentially life-saving checkup with an optometrist that allowed his parents to learn he had an eye cancer called retinoblastoma when he was just 5 months old. Detecting retinoblastoma used to be easier before smartphones came along and reduced the opportunities of seeing something called leukocoria. That's the distinctive eye reflection in photos caused by retinoblastoma.
You can actually recreate that red reflex in the eye if you're using the video mode in a dark room with a forced flash.
But Caitlin Winterink never saw leukocoria in Nash's initial photos, so the checkup was key.
So I recommend that parents go to optom.on.ca, and that is a website where you can find an optometrist near you and just book an appointment.
As for Nash, he was treated with chemotherapy and now gets frequent eye checks, but he's ready to start kindergarten in the fall. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The Toronto International Film Festival will be marking 50 years next month.
Today, the festival announced its lineup of Canadian films and apologized for its handling of one film. CTV's Andrea Case has the details.
Heightened security in the lobby of the TIFF Lightbox building as the Toronto International Film Festival announced its roster of Canadian films. The festival is still reeling from the controversy over award-winning Canadian filmmaker Barry Averich's film, The Road Between Us, The Ultimate Rescue, about a Jewish father's daring rescue of family members in the aftermath of the Hamas attacks on October 7th, 2023.
I'd like to take a moment to reflect.
TIFF CEO Cameron Bailey.
I want to apologize for any hurt, frustration, or disappointment that our communication about the film has caused, and for any mischaracterizations that have taken root.
The film is officially back in the festival. TIFF is celebrating its 50th anniversary, and the International Festival's commitment to Canadian films remains strong.
I directed a short film called Demons. It's my 4th time in TIFF as a director.
Whether it's your 4th time or your 1st time, filmmakers are thrilled to get the call their film has been accepted.
I was ecstatic. I think I jumped around and was so happy.
And for some, Toronto landmarks play a part.
CP24's news gathering jeep busting through the wall is a key.
You're calling that a character?
That's a key character within the film, and a star that all the folks at home are going to love to see.
And forget about the popcorn if you go see Jamal Berger's film, Still Single, about Masake Sato, Toronto's sushi superstar.
After the screening, there's going to be a huge sushi counter on King Street for people to enjoy.
And for veterans like Clement Virgo, whose first film screened at TIFF in 1991, this festival and the business are dear to him.
That's all I want to do is I want to make films, I want to communicate, I want to connect with audiences and have my film being seen.
The 50th annual Toronto International Film Festival starts on September 4th, and the opening night film is John Candy, I Like Me. The film was directed by Colin Hanks, the son of Tom Hanks. It is the 3rd film he's made behind the camera. Andrea Case, in front of the camera, CTV News.
Love you, Andrea. After the break, the Jays looked to take the rubber match in Pittsburgh this afternoon, but had a tough time getting the offense going. We have the highlights.
We had to call Air Canada yesterday just to make sure the flights are still on track, and I guess we were lucky.
Updating our top stories as passengers get back in the air after the Air Canada strike. We're learning more about how the company plans to financially compensate those affected. New details about the tentative deal reached between flight attendants and the company have been released. The company's aiming to return to 8% capacity. The airline says it could take more than a week to return to full capacity.
It's very concerning. We're all scared.
One man is dead, another in hospital after a double shooting in Brampton. It happened inside a home near Castlemore on Airport Road. Peel police say they believe the shooting was targeted and there's no threat to public safety, but neighbors in the area say they are unnerved by this gun violence. Neighbors tell CTV News back in February, a vehicle in that home's driveway was set on fire.
124 kilograms is a lot of drugs. Somebody's losing a lot of money there.
And new details tonight in the case of 2 truck drivers charged with trying to smuggle 115 bricks of cocaine into the country. American authorities allege the 2 men are part of a drug trafficking network run by former Canadian Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding. Police believe that network is connected to the shooting of a Brampton family that police say was a case of mistaken identity. Wedding remains one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives. There's a $10 million reward for information leading to his arrest.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know.
Small businesses are struggling to survive the ripple effects of the trade war, and they're looking to Ottawa for help. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more on that and other business headlines.
Canadian small business owners are being squeezed by the trade war. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says 59% of the owners they polled are affected by steel and aluminum duties. It is not only raising costs, but also cutting revenue. About 1 in 5 small business owners says they won't last another 6 months without help. Lowe's is buying foundation building materials for $8.8 billion U.S. It helps the home improvement company better serve contractors and builders. Lowe's also reported earnings and beat profit estimates. Shares were up today. Investors have been selling off technology stocks, leading to about $1 trillion loss for the S&P over the last 4 trading days. Tech did regain some ground in trading today. Analysts say investors may be worried about companies being overvalued. More of a mixed day on the markets. A small dip for the Canadian dollar to 72.08. West Texas Intermediate is up, hitting 62.71. Western Canadian Select is down more than $1 to 48.44. And the TSX moved up 54 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
As Air Canada flight attendants consider a tentative deal, Canada Post and union representatives return to the bargaining table today. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers also presented updated offers to the Crown Corporation. They call for larger wage hikes and the addition of weekend delivery and part-time workers to the service. Workers rejected the employer's last offer in a direct vote this month. Canada Post says it's reviewing the offers and is committed to reaching new collective agreements through the bargaining process.
A warning this evening for users of Grok, the artificial intelligence chatbot created by tech giant X. A report in Forbes says hundreds of thousands of Grok's conversations have been published online. This apparently happened when users tried to send their chats privately. Unbeknownst to many, the contents were also made available to Google and other search engines. X hasn't commented. Privacy experts say it's a good idea to restrict what personal information you share with an AI chatbot.
Jewelry retailer Claire's is selling off its North American business in a deal that will keep nearly 800 locations in business. The company said it will hand over ownership to a private holding company that also owns athletic apparel brands Champion Teamwear and Lids in exchange for $104 million U.S. in cash. Claire's had filed for bankruptcy in 2018 and then again this month with more than $690 million in listed debt.
With summer break coming to an end soon, GO Transit is updating some of its schedules. Seasonal GO Bus service to Canada's Wonderland and the Toronto Zoo will end after Sunday. Bus routes to post-secondary schools will then restart the following Saturday, August 30th. Meanwhile, Metrolinx has boosted weekday GO train service on the Stouffville line. There's an additional train departing Union at 3:30 p.m. and another trip in the opposite direction at 5:40. Those times will shift on September 2nd as schedules on several lines are updated to better reflect travel times.
The Toronto Blue Jays finished up their series in Pittsburgh this afternoon, looking to make it 2 in a row.
This one is hit hard to deep left field. Will it stay fair? It will.
George Springer hit his 21st home run of the season to give the Jays an early lead, but that's all Toronto would get. Later that same inning, the Pirates scored a pair and would go on to win the game 2-1. They took 2 of 3 against the Jays, who start a series in Miami on Friday night.
Coming up, not your average day at Navbatia's basketball camp. A big, really big surprise for the kids. Just ahead, meet the more than 7-foot-tall special guest sharing powerful insights beyond the sport.
Superfan Nav Bhatia helped to make some young basketball fans' hoop dreams come true today.
CTV's Janice Golding has more on a unique fantasy basketball camp.
Some dreams came true today at Nav Bhatia's Superfan Fantasy Basketball Camp. 100 youngsters experiencing some special moments with some special guests at Newton's Grove School in Mississauga. Among them, Satnam Singh, who in 2015 was the first Indian man to be drafted to the NBA. Today, Singh, who's 7'4" and weighs more than 400 pounds, is now a superstar in the AEW, All Elite Wrestling.
It is not easy. You need to work hard. You had to be dedication. If you want to play basketball, you had to put hard, you're 100% over there. If you want to be the wrestler, you had to put 100% in wrestling.
Words of inspiration at an event designed to give kids opportunities.
Very satisfying, my dream coming true, to help the kids, to help the underprivileged kids, and to inspire the kids. Every kid gets one of this ring, and then the leader of each team will get a pennant like this.
Since 2020, Bhatia's Fantasy Basketball Camp has been running 3 days a year every summer.
100 kids every single day. They get to show up. We make them feel like they were drafted in the NBA or WNBA.
The basketball camp full of drills and thrills.
Out of 10 is like a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, how, why? Because I really love basketball.
It's amazing, I love it so much.
Why?
Because there's so much basketball and I love basketball so much.
You wore the real, actual championship ring in the Hall of Fame ring.
And other unexpected perks like getting to see a Raptors NBA championship ring and a Hall of Fame ring up close and personal.
And they were like heavier than I thought they would be.
It was really fun and it was a great experience.
A great experience, making memories that will last a lifetime. Janice Golding, CTV News.
All right, Nav, we appreciate you always doing great things for the city.
That's the coolest camp ever. Wish we all could have gone as kids. Let's get caught up. Not a bad day to be inside at camp today.
I think so. Tomorrow will be a better day to be outside because even as we speak, some of the cloud cover out there is breaking up and clearing out. One more look at the satellite and radar. We'll hold on to the slightest chance of a shower, especially close to the shoreline of Lake Ontario. Waking up tomorrow, it'll be nice to see the sun again. If you don't see it first thing in the morning, you'll see it as the morning progresses and into the afternoon. Our forecast daytime high is 24 degrees. It's going to feel like 29, and then we're even warmer into Friday, 27 degrees. Going to feel like 33 on Saturday, but it is a more overcast day. Watching for the chance of showers over the weekend. Look at early next week, though. Bit of a pattern change back into a cooler air mass overall. Michelle and Nathan.
Okay, we'll take it. Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but join Omar Sechedina at 11 tonight for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.